All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Dark Horse Area 51 Indy Series here at Auto Club Speedway. 100 laps is our scheduled distance, and it is a warm one here tonight. Only 78 degrees ambient, but 127 degrees track temperature, and it's only going to get warmer as the day unfolds. So, track position and I think grip is going to be the name of the game here tonight, Boomer. So it's going to be fun to see. I think this one is going to be a very racy one with that track temperature. That I don't think these drivers are going to be able to just keep it pinned to that white line. So, I think it's going to be definitely some strategy, and fuel mileage is going to be the name of the game tonight. Hearing numbers anywhere from high 20s to maybe low to mid 30s. And with this being a 100 lap race, if we go caution free, drivers going to have to really try. I think they got to just back it down, try to make that two stop strategy, go to 33, 34 laps on fuel. So it's going to be that risk versus reward that we see from time to time.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one tonight for sure, Gael. I am definitely looking forward to being back in the booth for this one. Auto Club, no matter what kind of car you're running, I really think this is one of my favorite tracks on the sim. There's so many places to run. You know, you can run the bottom, the top, just about anything. I think these guys are probably going to be glued to the bottom of that white line, but I'm sure we're going to see a couple guys trying to hang it out high, wide, and handsome, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good night. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there. I talked to a few drivers, and a couple of them were definitely kind of pointing at the top and saying like, "We want to rim ride this thing. That's gonna be the place to kind of rip it around the top." So, but of course, I mean, you look at it, so you can kind of see it on the camera angles we got here. Say there's 4 or 5 distinct lanes here that you can run if you choose to, and they're going to be hunting for every single option there because once you get that dirty air, say that car's not going to want to rotate. Saw some drivers in practice have to replace some front wings and such because they couldn't rotate that car once they got in that wake of that car in front of them. So definitely gonna need to be some strategy where to move their cars and do that kind of situation. So it's gonna be fun to see. But also we gotta pull up our point standings because it has been slowly shrinking. Craig Forsyth bringing it down now to 23 points from Nick DeGroot for the championship lead. And then Andrew Wood only 38 out in third. I say they have kind of separated themselves a little bit from Jeff Heisong in fourth, Dan Morera there in fifth. But again, this is right now, this does not account for any of the drop weeks, which will start after tonight. Basically, we'll start adding the drop weeks. So after tonight's race is going to show their best 7 of 8, and then 8 of 9, 9 of 10, so forth until we get to the final race, race number 12, where they will get the basically whoever has the best 11 out of 12 races. No playoffs, anything here. So then we'll see who will be crowned our season 2022 season 2 champion. So it's going to be fun to see who's able to kind of jump across the rest of the field here tonight.
Yeah, it's just a classic old-fashioned battle, like just about every points system used to be in racing. So, love to see it. Love to see that style of racing here. And these guys are going to be battling pretty hard here as we get towards the end, with only a handful of weeks left here in the season.
Yeah, it's one of those things every season it feels like you're like, okay, here we go, 12 weeks, and then you blink and you're halfway through, you're 3/4 of the way through, and it just every season just quicker and quicker here. But you're right though, saying you mentioned with Auto Club being one of your favorite tracks with these Indy cars, and I say week in week out, this is definitely like to me like the four kind of key tracks you have to have with Indy cars is Auto Club, Michigan, Indianapolis, and Pocono. So say I think we've done 2 of them. This will be the 3rd of those, and then we will get to Pocono actually in 2 weeks. So say we are gonna get those 4. To me, like I said, the kind of the premier tracks that you want to have in this schedule. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Looks like qualifying just has completed here. So we're going to pull up our starting order for tonight. As it looks like we got a couple big names up front here that are going to try to kind of spoil the show maybe on the playoff side of things. So let's go ahead and pull up those starting grid here, and it's going to be Eric Peterson on pole position tonight in that 36. And then kind of gave him a hard time. His first race back this season, unfortunately, just real life's been pulling him away. The number 50, Charles he hops in. He qualifies in second. Only 6 thousandths off, and then only a thousandths ahead of Luis Gonzalez Nunez in third. And then rounding up top 5, Matt Wagner and Yari Brupacher. And then 6th through 10th, we've got Nick DeGroot, Jeff Heisong, Craig Forsyth, Andrew Wood, and Jason Hand.
In the 11th position, we're going to have John Held, followed by Jim Herrick, Gary Corley in 13th, and Jim Brooks in 14th. In 15th, we have Dan Morera. 16th is Joseph Grilja. How do you? That's a tough one.
Oh, sorry, Grijalva.
Grijalva, thank you. I apologize. I haven't pronounced that one. Joseph Grijalva. I apologize. Okay, in 17th, we have William Gunn, followed by 18th, Ryan Steinhoff. And I can't see where your rest of your field pulls up, but the last three we have Joseph Morales, Thaddeus McMurray, and Joseph DeCiro running shotgun on the field for tonight.
Yeah, same. And that's I've got some kind of bonus of say with where I kind of set up with a lot of things. Say one of our local representatives lit the last name Grijalva, so it makes it easy for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm used to that last name. But yeah, I see the field all starting to grid up here on that on the pit road here before they get rolling off here. And so you see Charles Teed already ready to roll. Matt Wagner pops in right behind him, and there's, I believe, Luis Gonzalez just off the corner there as well. And then we will get these cars rolling here in just a moment. Just waiting for everybody to finish gridding up. There they go. So we're going to see that pace car roll off, Boomer. And then 100 laps here. Again, no green light checkers. One faster pair. And I'll say hopefully those drivers are able to keep that in their pocket. Because, of course, you always want to get those all-important bonus points for an incident-free race here tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely a big deal to get those bonus points. It'll make a huge difference as the season goes on for sure. Definitely want to accumulate as many of those as you can, as we do see these guys rolling down the long pit road here in California. Gonna see a lot of guys sticking to that bottom groove there, trying to be on the flat just to save a little bit more fuel. It's the shortest way around the track, so it'll be interesting to see how that fuel mileage, like Gael was talking about earlier, will play out tonight. Hopefully, most of these guys looking to do a two-stop race, but we'll have to see how that plays out, and if anyone wants to get aggressive and maybe go for a three-stop, but see how the cautions fly and how long the green flag runs are.
Yeah, I think that's the question, is if we get a caution, I think at that point all bets are off, unless, of course, we get a caution around lap 33, 34, then you kind of go right back into it. But I say otherwise, I think then the fuel mileage goes out of the window, and then it's just kind of an outright brawl to the end. So it's going to be fun to see kind of how aggressive do these drivers want to be. I mean, you know, these guys, while they, of course, want to lead and control these races, go as fast as they can, at the same time, they're pretty wily. They know that there's always something kind of up their sleeves that they need to do to be able to be there at the end. And like I said, I think for tonight, that's exactly what it's going to be, is to just run the numbers tonight. And say, unfortunately, say that maybe some of these guys want to be up front, push hard, but I think these guys are going to be running that fuel number. So we'll see as we hit the Geico start zone. As the green flag is out, it's going to be Eric Peterson, Charles Teed leading the field through the gears, as we're going to kick this thing off here as the field heads into turn number 1 for the first time. So good. So they got to be a little careful, Boomer, of course. I say colder tires, say building the pressure up, building the heat up. But right now, these guys don't care. Almost 4 wide for a moment. Charles T trying to take a look low, see if he can grab that first lap lead, but he's going to have a hungry Eric Peterson off of 4. Charles T going to hold on to the lead here. He will lead lap number 1.
These guys are definitely dicey so far. Definitely got to make sure you don't get too tight in the aero wash behind the guy, but we're going to see. Looks like it's going to duck down here for the lead. 2 wide going into 3.
Yeah, saying these are teammates here working together. Charles Teed, Eric Peterson, actually co-workers as well. So say these two know each other very well. So again, this is kind of the strategy you can do, is say that's going to be the kind of the hit or miss. What's the right approach here? Do you stay aggressive and kind of do what these guys are doing, the leapfrog, and kind of just keep the pace up in the race? Or do at some point one of them start to ride behind one another? Because what this does do is it kind of guarantees them really the track position, if you will. So I mean, so I'd say for Eric Peterson and Charles Teed, you like doing this because you want to keep that track position. You can see right now they got about 7/10 on Matt Wagner there back in 3rd, as he's starting to fight with Jari Brupacher there on his inside. But yeah, like I said, I mean, some of these guys are probably rolling back a little bit. Like I look right here to Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth, 2 of our championship contenders. I think these guys are probably just making fuel right now. And actually, say add to our 3rd place in the points there, Andrew Wood right now. You've got 1, 2, 3 in points all lined up together here in 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah, definitely going to be paying attention to those guys more and more as the season boils down. Obviously, Nick, our reigning champion here, but Craig and Andrew both looking to upset him and make sure he doesn't get one and go back to back. But yeah, it's definitely early for sure, but Charles Teed and Eric Peterson are doing exactly what they need to be doing to control this race. I mean, they are absolutely putting down some of the fastest laps of the race so far, although Andrew Wood just ran a 32.46 in traffic, about 2/10 faster than our leaders, but still that roughly 8/10 of a second gap back to Matt Wagner from the lead. So definitely they are going to hope to keep swapping those positions and keep earning those bonus points. I think each Charles and Eric both have lap lead points, I believe, by now, which is, as we talked about, bonus points being very important in this championship battle.
Yeah, I just saw right there, Jari Brupacher just kissed the wall there out of turn number 4. I don't think it's going to be too hard of a hit to hurt that car, but that was definitely a little bit of contact there, so we'll have to keep an eye and see if all the bars and everything are looking good there. As you see there also the 89 there, Nick DeGroot lost a lot of momentum off of turn 2, and that's allowed Craig Forsyth to just jump right on by as if he was almost standing still there. But you are right though with Charles Teed and Eric Peterson. And yeah, they're just they're in their own little battle right now, and they've actually started to build it. They've almost got a second now on Matt Wagner. And actually, I think what we're seeing here is this is kind of a reaction to it. Matt Wagner, Luis Gonzalez, Nunez, they said, you know what? We got to react to this. We got to try to work together ourselves here if we're going to try to keep up with them. But actually, now that it looks like they actually stay side by side here off of 2, and it is still about a second between that 50 and the 15. So the big thing is if these two up front, can they get another about maybe half a second, get to that 1.5 kind of magic window and get out of the draft window of 3rd and 4th? That could be extremely beneficial for these two here to kind of just break away and kind of turn it into their own little race.
Yeah, like I said, excuse me, they're doing just about everything they need to be doing right now at the front of the field. Honestly, probably having a lot of fun doing it too. You said they are coworkers in real life and teammates, so probably know each other pretty well. It's I've been fortunate enough to race with a couple of people that I work with as well, and it's just fun to build camaraderie with people, and you can kind of almost lean on those guys a little bit harder, knowing that you've got an established relationship in real life, and it just makes it fun. So I can imagine Eric and Charles are absolutely loving every second of this so far as we click off a couple of laps here, working on lap number 9 of 100.
Yes, and I think we're seeing, right there, you saw the 6 for Andrew had to roll out of the throttle there out of turn number 2, but I think Andrew Wood was kind of recognizing that because he's really stepped up his pace as well. He's now up 5 spots into that 4th position. Like you said, another purple lap for the fastest lap of the race, about, again, 4/10 quicker than the leader, just how big the draft is with these cars. And then you have to go again another about a second back to Craig Forsyth there from Matt Wagner. So the pace of these guys is kind of really, the gaps are kind of starting to form a little bit. And I heard that mentioned in practice where they had said you got to be careful not to lose a draft, because if you do, you might be in big trouble. So I have a sinking suspicion that probably for Andrew Wood, he was thinking like, you know what? These guys are starting to get away from Matt and Luis. I'm going to push hard here. I got to get up to these guys. Otherwise, they're going to just set sail away from the field. Kind of fuel mileage be damned, if you will, almost there. Because like I mentioned with Craig Forsyth right now, he's over a second back now of Matt Wagner, 1.1 seconds here, as he's got Jari Brupacher and Nick DeGroot kind of starting to chase him down a little bit, but they're not leapfrogging each other. And that gap continuing to grow between that 27 and the 6. So I say Craig right now just in the danger zone, but I say again, we talk about the championship battle. He might not be worried about that field number, Boomer. He might be just saying, you know what, I want to do, or I should say the interval. Contact.
Little contact.
Oh man, that was close there off of turn number 4 with Craig and Jari. Don't know if Craig
think
got
we're
damaged.
okay.
So looking at the back, Yari's rear wing looks okay. So it would have been more on the kind of the gearbox area. And try to take a closer look at Craig Forsyth's front wing, and that car's looking okay as best I can tell. So man, that was a close call, and great heads-up driving by Nick DeGroot as well, as Jim Herrick was able to sneak around in that little bit of a kerfuffle, if you will. But yeah, so up front though, nothing's really changed though right now, Boomer. Say the big difference is though, Andrew Wood has closed that gap back down though. It's now only half a second between him and Charles Teed. You can see, I mean, he's right in their toe here. And then also that's brought Luis Gonzalez and Matt Wagner along for the ride here too. But I do think though the second pack though, I think they're starting to lose touch here. Jari Brupacher kind of off on his own right now in that 49, and it's like Craig Forsyth, Nick DeGroot having to kind of try to rebound and recover to get back up there.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. That was Craig's biggest worry there was after that contact that he might lose the draft because of it, just from having to check up so much. So hopefully they can stick with it. As of right now, I think they're okay. But yeah, Yari is currently 1.5 seconds back off Matt Wagner. And yeah, they might be starting to get a little too far, you know, a little too far away for comfort there. But I mean, that draft is going to be huge. You know, it scales with speed. You know, and these guys are just about the fastest things that run around this speedway. You know, it makes a huge difference to get that draft. You know, what you can run in the draft versus what you can run outside of the draft or by yourself. It makes such a huge difference. So hoping to keep with the pack at least. But yeah, actually hearing reports right now, it sounds like Craig Forsyth might be worried about a damaged wing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. It looked really close, either contact or just maybe enough to be potential. And there you see Nick DeGroot looks like he's going to maybe try to make that pass down low. See, for a few laps, he's just staying right behind Craig, kind of just continue to save fuel. Again, I would say it's not a bad strategy because, again, right now those two really should only have to worry about each other in the championship. But
right.
In saying that, though, we got to think about third in points. Andrew Wood, he was still pretty close to them, and he's actually, like I said, he broke away from that pack. He's got right to Charles Teed, Eric Peterson now. So he's basically got his own little draft away from that group. But it looks like Gary Brubacher, though, I think he's been putting down some pretty big laps in that 49 car, has really closed the gap here. And it looks like starting to drag Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth along as well. So it looks like that ebb and flow is starting to kind of bring that according back in here. So we might start to see about the top 13 roughly in the same main pack, because right now our top 10 still within about 5 seconds of the leader here, about 4.5. And then you start to get a little bit further back to John Held there, about 1.2 seconds back off Dan Marrero. So it has definitely, the heat I think has definitely spread the field out a little bit here, Boomer, as it's 127 degrees on the track temperature. So I say now, of course, with the pace of this race, though, I mean, we're already on lap 17. We talked about the fuel mileage. Can any of these guys get to lap 33, 34? I mean, to me, it seems like I think they're just keeping the pace maybe too high to really allow anybody to kind of just sandbag, if you will, and just kind of run a big fuel number.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's always the option to go the 3-stop route, but I don't. I mean, especially with Andrew Wood, he's been running, I mean, 0.2 a second faster a lap as he's catching Eric Peterson and Charles Teed here, and just it's not necessarily a pace that would, or excuse me, I apologize. He was actually, he's even with them the last couple laps. I apologize, but when he was catching them, he was running a couple tenths faster a lap. You know, probably more likely full throttle, like you talked about, trying to catch up to them. So hopefully he didn't burn up too much gas. Hopefully these guys at the front aren't burning up too much gas. I mean, they love to see them. You know, they probably enjoy being up at the front, but you know, you got to start thinking about that fuel mileage too, because like we said, I think 28 laps if you run map 1 full rich the entire time, and I think that would definitely lock you into a 3-stop strategy. But anyone who could pull off a 2-stopper and save the time on pit road might make a huge difference tonight. So we'll see. So far, clean and green. We'd love to see it. I think we're working on lap number 20 as they cross the stripe this time by.
Yeah, exactly right. Starting lap 20 now. Here's hopped on board Matt Wagner. Look at the overall top speed. Saw about 233, 234. They're entering turn number 1. And I say again, that's also probably with Matt backing it down a little bit too, just to make sure it doesn't get too close to the back of that number 64 Andrew Wood. So, and I do think we're seeing a little bit of that here tonight as well. Like I said, I feel like Matt's kind of been, he qualified fourth, he's running fourth. I think he's been trying to run the fuel mileage. I know this has been he's been trying so hard to just find the right break to get a win here this season, and just seems like nothing's gone his way lately. So once again, here you see pulling up on the timing scoring there, you can see 233 there again entering turn number 1. So so these speeds are definitely up there, Boomer. So I mean, it's definitely not for lack of speed with these guys. And then also, again, talk about the intervals here. It's once again grown to about 1.3 seconds between Yari Brubacher and Matt Wagner. But Yari's actually caught Luis Gonzalez Nunez, and looks like these two are starting to maybe try to do the leapfrog with one another to try to kind of cycle back and forth of one another. Oh, so I think Luis may have just kissed the wall there off of 4. So he might lose a little bit of momentum here, because they've also got about a second on Nick DeGroot. You know, it looks like you mentioned, maybe some front wing damage. Craig Forsyth struggling to keep up with Nick DeGroot as well. So, yeah, definitely a lot of potential here for just drop off and strategies and so forth. But right now, I'd say everybody's still roughly within that one under a second or so, except for now, like I said, that gap between Matt Wagner and Yari Brubacher, about 1.6 seconds. as Matt Wagner now starting to do some big moves here, rim riding that top side, got around Andrew Wood. Now he's going to set his sights on that number 50 of Charles Teed.
Starting to close the gap, Matt Wagner is. Obviously, Andrew Wood is up there, and Jari Brubacher still about 1.4 seconds back, but still riding here in the top 5 tonight. Definitely been kind of quiet, but a couple guys here, Matt Wagner, we'll see starting to challenge these teammates here up at the front of the pack, because they've separated a little bit now, about 1 second between Eric Peterson and Charles Teed at this point.
Yeah, Peterson's kind of just gone. I don't know if maybe that's Teed maybe burning his tires up a little bit, working together there. Maybe Peterson's either able to kind of take care of his tires a little better, or maybe Teed just say you kind of at one point you get that dirty air and just catch it at the wrong time, and then from there you're just kind of going the wrong way. I'll say it's maybe enough where basically Peterson's able to grab the lead, get the clean air, and then at that point, just Charles had nothing he could do to fight that dirty air. But here's our strategy, though. We talked about 1 stop, 2 stops. Luis Gonzalez, Nunez, he's going to go for the 3-stop strategy, like we talked about, 3 or 2. He's not going to worry about fuel saving. He's going to jump in. Jim Brooks in as well. So these guys going for the 3-stopper, I should say, going to split it in thirds there, of course, or in quarters, I should say, 25, 50, and 75. Whereas the rest of this field at the moment looking like they might aim to try to go for that 33-66 approach here, try to see if they can make it on 2 stops, but we'll see if anybody else can actually get that far. Ooh, I think Andrew Wood again, I think just caught the wall there, possibly off of turn 4.
Looks like the car's okay from the cameras, but yeah, definitely easy, very, very easy to get up into the wall. These guys are running so close, trying to maximize everything they can down the track, and it looks like Charles Teed is slowing down on the backstretch here. Not sure if he's planning to come to pit road this time or not, but he's actually back down into 7th place now, falling pretty hard there.
And actually Andrew Wood on pit road, so one of our championship contenders, they can't go the 2-stop approach, so starting to maybe get our questions answered here, Boomer. But as we say that, though, Matt Wagner now, he finds his way to jump around Eric Peterson. He jumps to the point now in that number 6. We'll see, do they kind of continue to try to leapfrog each other and make some pace? But no, it looks like Eric's going to roll in right behind that 6 car. But again, though, these guys that maybe try to make it on 2 stops, they got to go another 6 laps here, Boomer. I just don't know if they can do it. As you see, yeah, right now, I say whatever Matt's doing that beginning of the stint, it's really been working because he is just gone right now. And do need to mention also that we talked about sometimes pit road, so you can get in and out in the lead. Not the case tonight. That 64 Andrew Wood was towards the front. He is now currently sitting 1 lap down as he builds up speed. Also need to mention Jason Hand, Ryan Steinhoff, they're on pit road for their scheduled stops. So now it's kind of who can go the furthest right now, Boomer, and see if maybe someone can pull off that 2-stopper.
Yeah, I'm curious that Charles Teed is dropping back so far. I wonder if he's trying to super save or something as he looks like he's stuck on pit road. Yeah, never mind. So, yeah, interesting to see. Looks like, yeah, Eric Peterson, Jari Brubacher in right now.
Yeah, along with Charles Teed.
Along with Charles Teed, yep. So the teammates coming down and Jari Brubacher as well.
So, I mean, based on that, I mean, I feel like those top 2, the 36 and 50, they were running really hard, and they decided I think they just went to the limit of their fuel number there. Before they decided to hit pit road. So that's going to be interesting as well to see where they kind of come out in relation to maybe some of those other drivers that came in earlier. Let's say right now the furthest of those up is going to be Andrew Wood, who pitted at 26. And do you mention Nick DeGroot, Joseph Grijalva, they're also now on pit road. So let's say again the pit roads start continuing to get busy here. Gary Corley, John Held, William Gunn all rolling into pit road. So
Joseph DeSero as well.
And man, right now, Matt's got a 5-second gap on 2nd place of Craig Forsyth. Jim Herrick, haven't talked about Jim tonight. He's right there as well. So if there's a driver that's kind of Mr. Fuel Mileage, I'd say it's Craig. But the problem is right now he's leading up front here. He doesn't have that anybody to kind of tow off of him. Yep, here he comes. Actually, Craig's going to hit pit road as well, as is Matt Wagner.
Yeah.
That's going to leave 3 to stay out here.
Into.
Yeah, but you see, Thaddeus in the background there. So that leaves now Jim Herrick, Jeff Heisung, and Dan Marrera, and Joseph Miles as now the final 4 yet to pit.
Yeah, we'll see how this cycles out. As of right now, Andrew Wood is the current leader of those who have already made their pit stops, followed by Nick DeGroot, Eric Peterson, Luis Gonzalez Nunez, and Jari Brubacher. So that is the top 5 as of the ones who have pitted so far. We got a couple down on pit road this time as well. That's Jim Herrick and Jeff Hysong, as well as Joseph Morales. So Dan Marrera is the only one who has not pit yet. So interesting for him to stay out this late all by himself. He's got quite a gap to the rest of the field, about 30 seconds now. So just about a full lap, but he's going to be pretty slow by himself because most of the rest of the pack is fairly packed up, at least at this point.
But here's the thing, look what lap we're coming into right now, Boomer. He's going to be pitting here at lap 33.
Wow.
Can he make the 2-stop? If we stay green, could he make this work? He needs to probably get just a little. He needs at least one of these stops is going to have to be 34 laps, of course, because getting to 99 is a whole different story than getting to 100. So
right,
Dan's the one that's like he's the one that's going to be the one that has the chance to do it here tonight. I think honestly, I think probably the only one. Say Jeff Hysong was the second closest, being pitting at 32. However, the other story to talk about now is once the pit stop cycle, it's Matt Wagner to the point in that 6 ahead of Andrew Wood by about 6/10. But then you got to go 3 seconds back here, Boomer, to Nick DeGroot there, who's starting to lead a bit of a field here. So this is really good if you're that 6 car. You've got track position, you got clean air, and it looks like you don't think anybody else is going to be able to kind of fuel mileage you at this rate. So this could get very interesting here. So waiting for Dan Marrera to cycle through. And here's the last thing that 26 car needed, though, Boomer. Look how empty it is around him. He's got nobody in drafting range in front of him. He's still got a pretty good gap behind him. I think he's got to just, if he's going to kind of stay committed to this, he's got to back it down here, wait for those guys to come in front of you, and just basically just save, and just basically you got to run your race here at this point to run a number. Don't bother trying to keep track position.
Yeah, exactly. So he may have a chance to pit one less time than the rest of the field. Looking at most of the drivers out now, a typical in-lap is about 40 seconds, 45 seconds, 43 to 45, which puts you at about 10 seconds a lap slower, and then the out lap is over a minute. So looking at about an additional 40 seconds to the lap time just to pit. So that was how we showed Andrew Wood went a lap down. So if so basically over the course of a run, Dan Marrera, if he can stay within 40 seconds of the leaders, he may have a chance to be able to save a ton of fuel and only go 2 stops. This would be interesting to see if he could go that way. Like we said, he would right now with the same strategy, he would run out coming to lap 99, so he needs to save one more full lap of fuel. But if that's a strategy that you're going to commit to, you might as well commit hard to it.
No. It's
never mind.
Strategy's out of the field here. Charles Teed around, it looks like on the trial or the front stretch here, and not sure. Don't see anybody else around him, but this is going to throw the pit window out of the question now, because everybody's going to come in here, I think, for fuel and tires. But he's able to get back going again. Car looks not too worse for wear, so let's go back and see what happened to Mr. Teed here.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of contact once we pull the replay up here.
Let's go ahead and jump back. Let's take a look here at Charles Teed through. You can see, yeah, already way off pace there out of 4. May have had to kind of just slow it down there. And I think this is just a case of us. Again, I'm running super slow-mo here. I think what was happening there was I think the Charles was probably trying to get out of the way of the 40 of Jim Herrick. Jim Herrick was trying to get around the 40 of, or sorry, get around the 50 of Charles Teed, and then they just kind of met in the middle. Say it's one of those ones where it's like, oh man, actually he goes on 2 wheels there for a good bit there, a couple times there. So honestly, kind of lucky to stay on the wheels in that number 50, but. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of one of those after you situations where when you're going about 210, 220, say those gaps close very quickly. So, honestly, I think this is probably a caution that's a blessing in disguise, possibly for almost the whole field. I'd say I think there's maybe 3 drivers that didn't want to see it right here: Matt Wagner, Andrew Wood, and then Dan Marrera. I think would be the other one who maybe didn't want to see it. So, that being said. Matt Wagner staying out here, Boomer. I'm not certain about this strategy here, pitting at lap 30. Craig Forsythe's going to do the same, though, and gain a handful of track position. Say no-brainer here for Dan Marrera. Dan should have stayed out, and he does. So I like this call by that 26 car. But from 4th on back, we're going to have the entire field on pit road. Like I said, a little surprised to see the 6th car stay out here. I must feel confident that he can still do it on one more stop from here.
It'd be interesting to see because you can save a little bit more fuel, obviously, with these caution laps. So even the guys that did already take their first stop, as if they were planning to do a 3-stop race, if there's enough yellows and when they come out at the right time, they may actually get a chance to still do a 2-stopper here. Obviously, they can cut the fuel way down under these pace laps. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, definitely understand why Dan Morera stayed out, and I think it makes sense for Matt and Craig as well. So, but it'll be interesting. Obviously, playoff implications are always, or not playoff, excuse me, fuel strategy implications are always fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to run the numbers right now on the fuel to try to get kind of a definite here, because of course everybody that pitted there pits at lap 37, coming to 38. So I mean they'll probably restart right around 40, which is going to be about six. Basically they'll restart with about 60 to go. I think 61 officially to go here. And so basically on that number they just need to go. They need to go 31 laps on fuel, and to me that's very very doable. So Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, they pitted at 30. Dan Murray pitted at 32. So right now, I mean, Andrew Woods basically got about a 5-lap advantage of fuel than Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, and Dan Murray, five-lap advantage to Dan. So, man, I kind of like where Andrew sits right here. I say he's got some fuel to his advantage. We do have a few drivers topping off, which I think also not a bad strategy here as well, especially if you're towards the back anyway. It's going to be Joseph Morales there, John Held, Charles Teed, of course, who is the part involved in that incident, and then Ryan Steinhoff and Jason Hand. So we're going to have 5 drivers top off here on that one to go. So yeah, so we'll see here. I'm a little bit intrigued here, and you see Matt already rolling the apron as well, Boomer. So I don't know. I think that's a missed opportunity personally for me for the top 2 to not pit. Like I said, for Dan Morera, I feel a little better about him staying out since he went to 32, 2 laps further than those top 2. But I don't know. I don't know if the field now at this point can make it. I should say I don't know if the top 3 can make it one stop to the end. I think though, 4th on back though, I think that's the call here to try to win this race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. If they do get one more caution, and depending on where it comes, I think these guys at the front are going to be in a great spot, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Obviously, we're looking at lights off here on the pace car. He will be ducking in the pace car, that is, this time by, and the restart will be on the number 6 car of Matt Wagner.
Yeah, that's the next thing, of course, is the control now goes to that 6 car. So as soon as that pace car's off the racing service, Matt can choose to go as early or late should he choose to until that green flag flies. And so again, no restart zone here yet for the Area 51 Indy Series. So going to save that for next season. As you can see, and so now's the big question. Everybody's got to be careful not to get that accordion effect midfield. It looks like so far so good. Matt's down and away trying to build up the speed. And it looks like everybody's going to get a clean restart here as we start lap 40.
Yeah, I think Matt did a really good job there on that restart. He stayed patient, and the rest of the field did not try to get aggressive, and he should be able to stay in the lead here. Might have a chance to maybe leapfrog with Craig Forsyth as they start to break away a little bit from Dan Morera, but it'll be interesting here to see how it goes and see if people are going to continue to fuel save. Obviously, like we talked about, these top 3 guys at the moment have the least amount of fuel, would have the least amount of caution out. What happened?
Out. Yeah, so towards the back here. So it looks like involving Ryan Steinhoff possibly, and I think once again I think Charles Teed also gets a piece of this one as well. So not his return to the league not going the way he'd like it to, as it looks like might be calling it here as I saw him kind of backing down on the brakes there. So yeah, let's go back one more time here and take a look. I think it was a little bit back towards the field here. We'll start with Joseph Desir. We'll try to take a look out of 4. You see the 50 on the outside. Oh, look at the 14 right in front of me. Yeah, he catches the outside wall. Charles Teed kind of just has to follow him there because he has nowhere to go. And then, unfortunately, Joseph Desir just right into the back of that number 50. So, I'd say I think that's cold tires. And we talked about that at the beginning of the race. Everybody got through cleanly. But unfortunately, this one not as lucky for a couple of these guys that are going to get involved there. As you see, Joseph Desir, though, definitely losing the right front suspension broke on that one. So that's going to definitely need a fast repair for him. And unfortunately, it looks like that may be the evening for Charles Teed. And now, do we see any takers on pit road? It looks like for the most part, it's going to be till about mid-pack here. Jim Brooks going to lead the field onto pit road here, which I think at this point, like I said, if you're kind of mid pack here, do something different. Try to go a little bit opposite strategy, because now this is one of those windows now where you know what, you can run full aggression, no need for any fuel save, anything like that. I think these guys can make it, no question, one stop to the end.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see these guys here. Definitely, I think it's opportunity, especially if you're further back in the pack already. But looks like Joseph DeCiro is going to take his fast repair here. That was a big hit. Obviously, things come quick at these speeds, but definitely plowing through the back of Charles Teeden. Unfortunately, probably ending his night tonight. But we'll see these guys come back off. So Jim Brooks, William Gunn, Ryan Steinhoff, John Held, and Joseph DeCiro all pitting here for fuel on lap 41. Like you said, we'll give them a chance to make it one more stop all the way to the end.
Yes, I mean, now it's like, again, I mean, of course, we know that you can save a lot of fuel under yellows. So, I mean, but when you start looking at the numbers, you got lap 30 and 32 for Matt, Craig, and Dan. 37 for Andrew Wood, all the way back to Thaddeus McMurray, and then Joseph Morales, Jason Hand topping off at 38, and then of course 41 now for Jim William and company. So I feel like this caution's a big break for no question marks for like Andrew, Nick, and company. I still have a little bit of concern for Matt and Craig and them, but I'll say again, I mean, these guys run these races and they kind of know the numbers, they know the mileage. So I think this caution is definitely a big break for these guys, because again, these guys are going to be running the caution map 8 on fuel. They're going to be saving every drop. I see Matt shortening the front stretch here as well, as we're going to get the one to go once again here to start us back at 44 here, Boomer. So again, kind of doing the backwards math a little bit, it's going to be about 67 laps to go 57 laps to go if my bad math is correct. So yeah, I mean, to me that does seem a lot more realistic. That's about 27, 28 laps if you split that evenly.
Yeah.
So yeah, 20 would be 56. So yeah, so actually 28, 29 laps. So it's definitely doable. I mean, we talked about the worst mileage some drivers were getting was probably about that 28 or so. So yeah,
it's a 28 and a 29 lap stint.
Yeah, so that's going to be, I mean, to me it's still tight though, because I think Matt and Craig, they went 30 laps on that first stint. So with them now this has been 13 laps. Of course, 2 kind of quick yellows to kind of shake things up a little bit on the fuel mileages. But is that I don't know. I'm a little nervous still. If again, this is all based on going green, but I still have a little bit of nervousness for those top 3 for the fuel numbers. But like I said, I think they have these numbers a little bit more sorted out than I do up here in the booth.
Oh, I'm sure they've got quite a bit more. A lot of these guys probably running stuff like Crew Chief app and sim racing apps to tell them how much fuel they need to put in or how much fuel they need left for the end of the race. But we are going to take attention away from that and put attention on this number 6 car. Again, lights out on the pace car. He will be our control car for this restart.
Yeah, again, he has control as early or late as he chooses. Looks like he's going to go a little later this time, as you can see. Again, gets that little bit of a jump on Craig. Is saying that's just the kind of the perks of being the leader here. Everybody else just has to try to be as quick on the draw as they can. But like you said, though, this is kind of where the leader's the most susceptible for kind of that counterattack, if you will, from second place. So I say this is where Matt just has to try to time it at the right spot and hope that Craig gets to him basically just at the entry of turn 3. That way he can run that low side through through 3 and 4. I'm sorry. And yeah, it looks like that's going to be a no question mark there. That all is going to be fine here for him. So we'll see what these guys have in store for now. And the strategy is does Craig maybe just say, you know what, I'm going to let Matt be that the one to lead the way. I'm just going to kind of sip off of his draft and save fuel and just enjoy things as yeah. So we'll see what we got here. But like I said, still plenty of time to go. Not quite halfway. Although Dan Moreira and Nick DeGroot already starting the battle here for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, Dan Moreira now being passed by Andrew Wood, as you mentioned. Nick DeGroot also in the top 5. So we do have 2 of the championship favorites, Andrew Wood and Nick DeGroot, in the top 5 on the same strategy. Obviously, Craig Forsyth sitting in second still is the one that we mentioned pitted last on lap 30, which wouldn't be enough if you went 30, 30, and 30 laps to go the rest of the race with fuel, but have had some yellow here to slow down and save some fuel, so it'll be interesting to see. But bit of a split decision here for not just a couple cars in the field, but 3 of our championship favorites are split in their fuel decisions tonight.
Yeah, so Andrew, we're wasting no time already working on Craig Forsyth here. Say the last time by ran the fastest lap of the race, a 32:37, as he's working on to the back of that 27 car. And like I said, I think for Craig here, I think he's just going to try to use the toe off of Matt Wagner. I think that's kind of Craig's strategy, because you can see he's not putting any pressure on that 6 car. So I think Craig probably trying to back down his fuel map maybe to like from map 1 full rich, maybe a map 3 or so. Kind of halfway in between full lean and full rich. I'll say, of course, these cars have 1 through 5 for oval racing, then they have 6 and 7 for road courses, and then map 8 for under yellow. So I'll say I kind of see Craig is probably running around 3 or something in that range. You still got to be able to keep up with that guy in front of you. But as I say, yeah, I think Craig's not worrying at all about that leader here. He's going to let Andrew Wood right on by. I think he's going to continue to just kind of keep saving fuel, just keep using the draft to its full advantage. But as I say that, Power's on the outside around that number 64 to hold on to that second spot.
Yeah, these guys have a great battle going on. Andrew has turned some very, very, very fast laps, catching up in the draft, and so has Luis Gonzalez Nunez. He's actually quietly here in the top 4. He's actually run our fastest lap of the race so far. So definitely 2 guys that are really good at working in the draft and catching up to those in front of them. So that'll be a big, big deal, especially if you're the one not leading towards the end of the race. But big night for Luis Gonzalez Nunez, as Nick DeGroot also rounds out our top 5. Dan Marrera slipping back just a little bit now to the 6th position. We do have Eric Peterson in 7th after leading some of the early parts of this race, followed by Jari Brupaker, Joseph Grijalva. I will get that, Joseph.
Oh, you're
I
good.
apologize. In 9th place, and Jim Herrick in 10th.
Yeah, so and then the question goes back to those guys that pitted at 41, and right now, say they're still a ways back here. I'll say Jim Brooks the furthest up of those in 15th position. But again, right now, I say it's a very minimal advantage compared to what those guys, like I said, those that pitted like at lap 37, of course, like an Andrew Wood, for instance. And as I go back to them, because I say Andrew's trying to hold on to that second spot, we'll see if he can clear Craig Forsyth and just slides up in front of that 27 car. But once again, I think Craig wasn't going to give it to him, but at the same time, he wasn't going to just roll, just roll out of it completely. But I think Craig, again, I think he's just running just hard enough to hit that number that he needs to. As there goes Andrew Wood, he's going to just kind of try to take control of this race. Now we'll see, what does Matt Wagner do? Nope, he's not going to stay and just kind of stay in lockstep. He's going to push still here as well, Boomer. So I say Matt must be feeling pretty good about his fuel mileage still in that 6 car as well. And like you said, Luis Gonzalez Nunez starting to creep back in here in that 4th spot, just a couple tenths off of Craig.
Interesting battle here up at the front. Obviously, as you mentioned, Matt probably not too worried about his fuel right now if he's battling this hard with Andrew Wood, but we will have to wait and see. We are currently working on lap number 52, so we just missed the halfway point of the race, a couple laps beyond it now, and pretty much, like we said, one more stop probably for most of the field. Again, the only question really being Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, and Dan Marrera, if they can stretch it to one final stop, but probably getting close for at least Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth again, and Dan Marrera to making that final stop, but probably going to have to do it, after lap 70, so probably about 20 more laps here before they can really consider taking that final stop of the race.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's probably about like lap 72 is my kind of ideal pit stop, where it's like, okay, that's probably about at the point where you can make it to the end full rich, like we're talking about kind of map 1, no throttle control, anything like that. You're just going pedal to the metal all the way to the end. So anybody that comes in, like I said, I think anywhere from 70 or earlier, I don't feel the most confident about it. I may not be enough to make it to the end safely. I said they could probably do it to the end, but might have to do a little bit of fuel save for that final stint. So, like I said, but yeah, I think the three biggest question marks, so like you said, are going to be Matt, Craig, and Dan. So, I like where Craig is. He's kind of just cruising just off the back of these guys. I think he's still running a field number, and Dan Murray just 2 cars back as well, kind of just right in that nice little pocket where he is. So. To me, the one that's been driving the hardest of those that stayed out has definitely been Matt Wagner. So that's kind of my concern on fuel, is probably sitting more in that cockpit of that 6 car.
Yeah, definitely. He doesn't seem to be worried about it right now, just with the aggression that he is still trying to go after, trying to keep this lead, still grabbing some bonus points for leading laps here, and could eventually become, I believe, our lap leader of the race, but need to check in on that later, too, to see how many laps he leads versus how many everyone else has led so far. But a good battle so far. You know, the leapfrog method, at least for him and Andrew Wood, seems to be working okay. I don't think they're quite working on it together as well as Charles Teed and his teammate Eric Peterson were doing it earlier. I think they're just kind of more battling and it kind of happening, I guess, maybe not naturally, but you know, as the battle goes on, it's happening where they're leapfrogging, but not nearly as natural as like teammates might be wanting to hand it back and forth. So definitely getting not I wouldn't say aggressive, but just trying to be up at the front and be the one in command of this race.
Yeah, and saying you can't tell they're definitely not fighting each other as they could. One of them could be trying to protect the inside outside. Say, but you basically see right here. Once in the 64, he gets the run, and say Matt sees it. He just says, "Okay, I'm just going to roll on the top side, let you get the low line, kind of the shorter distance around." And then as we come out of turn 4, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to grab your draft, and then as soon as I get the opportunity, I'm going to duck low. Andrew stays high again. So you'll say there definitely are cooperating, like I said, as but yeah, definitely maybe a little difference that we can see between these two than we saw with that 36 and the 50 earlier on. But yeah, right now, let's say Nick DeGroot trying, I think, to kind of pedal these guys back in a little bit, as we still got pretty much the top 10 here, all within a kind of touching distance here. It's about 4 seconds from Eric Peterson to Matt Wagner, and he's got about a second on Jim Herrick, who's just kind of drifting back just a tiny bit right now. You see Peterson got really tight there off the floor, had to possibly roll out of
contact.
it. Yeah, that was
contact,
close.
I think.
Yeah, so basically we're getting to the point now, Boomer, though, like I said, about 12 more laps for, to me, a rough fuel ended open to me. Like I said, I think 14 laps is where I feel safer about it. And again, but then you go back to those guys that pitted later, like Jim Brooks, John Held. Maybe they try saying, you know what, let's just run it as far as we can, because we've seen that leaders can get trapped a lap down. If we get a caution, we could pit under yellow with the whole field a lap down, and saying that just gives us some great track position. So there are some games that can be played with these guys that are trying to maybe work an alternate strategy here. So it's going to be it's kind of going to be that track position versus fuel mileage versus just the timing of that final pit stop.
Yeah, for sure, Gael. Definitely nothing going to be interesting. I know it's probably been what we talked about most of all of this race, really. But that's, I mean, it's going to come down to being a big deal. And I still think if Matt Wagner and these guys who have pitted most recently have a chance to go only on one more stop, I think it's going to be a big advantage for them. And who knows, maybe even could get Matt that first win of the season. That'd be huge.
Oh yeah, no, that would be we would have I would say he's always a fun interview, but I'll say, is Craig so tight there off of turn number 2. But yeah, no, a race win interview with Matt Wagner, I say he would be just that extra step above, say kind of that from excited to probably very ecstatic in that number 6 car. So, but right now we're hopping on board with Craig Forsyth, and that car is, to me, Boomer, he is struggling. That car just not able to rotate the way he needs it to. I'm sure he's making plenty of adjustments in the car, but he's starting to fall about 0.8 of a second off of Nick DeGroot. As you can see, he's just trying to find the clean air, because on the inside, you've got the 64 and the 6 kind of running the bottom in the middle. Nick DeGroot's kind of rim riding. So Craig's just got to find somewhere that's got the cleanest air, basically, to give him any sort of chance of trying to keep up with these leaders here.
Yeah, it's so funny because the draft or the tow for these cars is such a big deal. But as soon as you get in the dirty air as well, it makes these cars tighter than anything. It's really amazing how these aerodynamics work, because it can help you for a while until you get too close to it. And if you're, it's almost like jet wash, really. I mean, it's you get behind a guy and all of a sudden your car just plows tight into the wall. So definitely, and you can actually kind of see if we're paying attention back there. You can see him playing with the different weight jackers and all the other fancy controls they have here in the Indy cars to try and make adjustments in, honestly, sometimes both ends of the racetrack, changing twice a lap just to see if they can get a better balance in turns 1 and 2 and 2 and 4, because they drive very differently. Obviously carrying a lot more speed into turn number 1, and turn number 1 kind of a decreasing radius, where turn number 3 and 4 is kind of an increasing radius as it gets back onto the front stretch. So definitely going to have different settings for most of these drivers as they're changing everything, even maps, you name it, throughout every lap, sometimes twice, 3 times a lap.
Yeah, so you saw right there, it's about 221 roughly in there in turn 3. And saying, but here's the difference. You see right there, even about, again, 223 there entering turn number 1. And so we were talking about earlier, we saw Matt Wagner, I think it was about 233. So, I mean, basically a 10-mile-an-hour difference in the draft versus having the clean air on your nose. So, basically, it's that kind of balance. Like, do you want speed or do you want to have the clean air to be able to turn that car? And I'll say right now, of course, Andrew doesn't have the top end, but he's got the rotation where he can just put that car wherever he wants to. Whereas Nick DeGroot, he's got the top end down the turns, then he's got to find, or down the straights, but he's got to find somewhere to position that car in the turns to make sure he doesn't get that wake. And that's why we see him running up top here, as it looks like actually unscheduled pit stop for that 51 of Jim Brooks here. So maybe some wall contact, unfortunately for him, as he's hitting pit road with 35 to go. That's definitely outside the field window for him to make it to the end. So unfortunately, not the night he was looking for in that 51.
Yeah, it looks like he entered the pit lane and then jumped to the pits.
Oh, and Matt Wagner on pit road.
Coming, not gonna make it. Ooh, lock up. Oh, he may.
That
or may
might
not
be too hot an entry there. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
That might be a 30-second penty, I believe.
Yeah, it could be a pretty big
worried
stop
about
and hold.
That. Yeah, I'm kind of worried about that for Matt there. That was a big lockup. When you start sliding like that and you lose all control of the tires, you actually slow down a lot. Well, however you want to look at it, you don't slow down in a quicker time. It takes you a longer distance to stop because you do slide those tires, so you don't slow down as quickly as you'd like to. So it's definitely a fine edge, and hopefully Matt didn't break it. And there's a little bit of a grace period on pit road as you're getting down, as we see also Craig Forsyth coming in this time, definitely not going to be able to stretch the fuel like we thought they might, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that was my concern about the fuel mileage, and unfortunately looks like it's coming to fruition. And to answer your question, Boomer, unfortunately, Matt Wagner still on pit road at 20 seconds, so yeah, stop and hold for that 6 car. So at this point, that's going to put him probably at least 2 laps down as they run here. So yeah, definitely a big shot for that 6 car to have a chance at the win here tonight. So at this point now, say for Craig Forsyth, he's rolling out. Say again, he's going to be put a lap down here, but again, he pitted there with 33 to go, and we never saw anybody hit that number. So I think the 64 just kissed the wall there off of 2. These guys, the handling of these cars are definitely starting to fall off a little bit. So yeah, so unfortunately for Matt Wagner, just now rolling out of pit road, is going to be 2 laps down. Should cycle back to 1 down once pit stops kick off. But again, it looks like the right strategy for these guys was that pitting a lap 37. I was a little nervous about that early pit stop, as Dan Morera also pitting here at 70. Again, this is right on the edge. I still don't feel confident about that fuel number, but so he's definitely stands a better chance than the 27 and the 6 though.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And also, while we've been talking about fuel strategy, look who has quietly taken over the lead. Mr. Nick DeGroot, our current points leader, I believe. I believe he's in the lead. Yeah, he's taking over the lead and starting to take control of this race as Andrew Wood now fades back to second. Luis Gonzalez Nunez in third. Joseph Grijalva, I got it, I think that time, and Jeff Hysong in the top 5. I told you I'd get it eventually, Joseph. Sorry about that. So, but yeah, interesting to see here. Thaddeus McMurray is now making his way onto pit road. Yari Brupacher and Gary Corley coming in this time as well.
Yeah, so window's just about to formally open here. The one thing Dini mentioned, Craig Forsyth, he's kind of merged into some traffic, so this might allow Craig to do a little bit of fuel saving while he's trapped this lap down. But again, though, I mean, he pitted at 67. That's just, to me, that's an eternity to make it to the end. So, yeah, I just do not feel confident for that number 27 car. This is the position I'd like to be in here, because again, now this time by here, Boomer, we're going to be at 28 to go. And that was about the fuel number that everybody was telling me was like you could go probably about 28 at full song here. So now the question mark is, do these guys try to pit together and kind of teamwork away from the field, or they might even just have to pit? But it looks like Andrew Wood. Oh no, actually, yep, they're here. They both come in right together here, so they're going to pit with 28 to go. Jeff Hysong, he's going to keep going another lap here in that 18 car. but pretty much one of the only drivers hit payroll or decided to stay out, because it looks like pretty much everybody except for William Gunn and Ryan Steinhoff also staying out.
But I like that call from Jeff Hysong, though. You see the leaders going in, you got to do something different, right? If you copy them, you're never going to pass them. I mean, you're very not likely to, at least, especially with the caliber of drivers that Nick DeGroot and Andrew Wood are. I like this call from Jeff here to stay out one more lap, see what you can do. He's going to come in this time by and get his service, but we'll see where he cycles out. But it's just something different, at least, to try and get around these top two guys who really are the favorites here and are kind of are leading the field at the end of this race.
Yeah, but then here comes those last two, William Gunn and Ryan Steinhoff, both hitting pit road.
Another lockup.
Yeah, but that should complete the cycle, and here we go. Top three all locked together. Nick DeGroot, Andrew Wood, and Craig Forsyth. So for me here, though, Boomer, if you're Craig Forsyth, basically your race now is you just sit and you save absolutely every drop of fuel you possibly can. But I think what you're going to see is out of these two in front of him, they're going to try to make his life difficult. They're going to be pushing as hard as they can, continuing that leapfrog approach here, because they know they can make it to the end no matter what. Craig's got to try to save fuel and keep touch of these leaders to use their draft here. So right now it looks like a 3-horse race between the three of them if we stay green, because they've got about 3 seconds on that 15 of Luis Gonzalez Nunez, who's got about 3 seconds on Jeff Hysong.
So that's the saving grace, I think, for Craig Forsyth, though, too, because if he does need to back off and he can't break, or and he breaks away from that draft, he still will have Luis Gonzalez Nunez back there and Jeff Hysong to eventually grab the draft from and try to back up a little bit. So he probably not going to be the one competing for the win, but there has to be a way, at least for him, to make it 33 laps towards the end of this race because of the way his fuel strategy worked out. So for him, he might be trying to drop back, maybe catch the draft of Luis Gonzalez Nunez a little bit, but Jeff Hysong definitely came out a little bit better, at least, than he was. They're sitting now in fifth, like you said, about 6 seconds back. Joseph Grijalva, Dan Morera, and Jim Herrick, and maybe even Jari Brubacher, throw him in that mix, are the next group back. Spread out between now 5th and 9th place, so definitely a little bit of a gap, but this race here is pretty much just a 2-horse race here. We're going to see Andrew Wood and Nick DeGroot here battle it out for the last 35 laps here, working on lap number 76. Maybe 35 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, and then you already see Craig starting to drop back almost a second out off of those guys, so he's doing what he can to try to hold the draft, but I think, like I said, with these guys doing what they're doing, it's just the pace is going to stay too high. So I'll say Craig, unfortunately, his race is basically going to have to be to just try to avoid having to make a final pit stop, because if he can finish 4th or 5th, because again, we talked about the interval between Luis and Joseph and them, I'll say that I think is kind of a win in itself. He can hold the top 5 versus dropping out into probably about in the mid-teens probably. Because really, other than the ones we talked about with Matt Wagner and Dan Morera and them, I think most of the field here probably can make it to the end of the race here. So, but like I said, right now it's basically between these two, and this is tricky now because I'm looking ahead of them. There is no traffic right now. They're in the middle of the backstretch. The next car in front of them is crossing start-finish line now, so they've got over basically half a lap of clean air in front of these two cars. So now it's all about these guys they're very smart drivers here. They're going to start kind of jockeying for position, be like, okay, if I do this on this lap, I can get him at the line here. If I do this, then maybe I can stop him from getting to me at the line here. So I think basically these next 20 laps here for these two drivers, they're going to be kind of just figuring out, okay, where do I position my car to make the move? Or in Nick's position where he is right now, where do I position my car to prevent Andrew from getting around me, and then vice versa, of course, when Andrew's in front of him. So these guys are going to figure out where's the best place to position their car, where can they put their car, maybe give that car behind them the dirty air, and of course on the opposite side, where do you position your car to kind of get their draft at the absolute right time. So a very big chess match here between these two.
Yeah, definitely. And I apologize earlier when I said 35 to go. I definitely meant 24 to go. So a bit of a hiccup there. But yeah, working with about 20 laps to go now, these two guys at the front of the field are really just going to be spending the next 20 laps trying to figure each other out, size each other up, and figure out where can I make this move, how can I make it. So it'll be interesting to see who is going to come home on top. But everyone at this point, other than maybe Craig Forsyth, should be able to go the distance. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Definitely gonna be an exciting 20 laps for the rest of this race if it does stay green.
Yeah, so we still have a pretty good fight here, like you were talking about too. I mean, between 5th and 11th, these guys are all within the toe of each other. So, I mean, you got Jeff Heisong in 5th right now, leading this pack here, and then you go back to Gary Corley in 11th, who's right in touch with these guys as well. So, really not a done deal for any of these drivers as well. I mean, you sit in 10th, 11th, Eric Peterson, Gary Corley. You look up in front of you and say, man, I got a top 5 as a realistic possibility in this race. So. I don't count them out either for that. If they can, again, we've seen some drivers have some really, really good pace towards the end of the fuel run. But what I did notice, you talk about Craig Forsyth, he has found Luis. He's tagged right onto the back of him here. And I wish we got to see all the details of that steering wheel because, like you said, with Luis kind of just being on his own here, I say Craig should be able to hold the draft a little bit better versus those two up front that were kind of leapfrogging each other. But even here, though, you see Craig's already fallen back to about a half a second. So he's just trying to balance how hard he can push. And you see right here using the draft to kind of claw back as much time as he can through the straights. And then again, try to find that clean air on the front wing of this car in the turn. So like I said, Craig's going to be fighting for his life here. And again, but that's to basically make this race without having to pit one more time if we don't get a caution.
Yeah, I think we've said it enough times to maybe try and jinx it here, but we'll see. Definitely love to see a green flag battle, though. I'm sure everyone back here, including Luis Gonzalez, Nunez, Craig Forsyth, and Jeff Heisong in the last cars in the top 5 here, are looking for something just to reel back in these two leaders of Nick DeGroot and Andrew Wood, who really have been the stars of the show as we creep into the final third, or through the final third of this race here, I should say. It does look like we actually have Joseph Morales on pit road and Jason Hand, maybe some unscheduled pit stops, maybe some contact, I'm not sure, but coming down to receive service for both of those cars here.
Yeah, cars look okay, so yeah, kind of an odd situation there for both of them, but yeah, we'll have to keep an eye and see if they continue on, but yeah, it looks like just a splash of fuel for Joseph as he's already down and away. Actually, I believe Gary Corley in as well.
Too. Interesting. I didn't think that they were that far out of the bubble for making their final fuel stop. So interesting to see here. People are just kind of splashing down as we see the, I believe it's the 7 of Gary Corley with the McLaren Aero design on his car. Very sharp looking car.
Yeah, so yeah, very intriguing, like you said, though. It was a quick stop for Joseph. It was just a splash and go, 3.7 seconds. I think it looks like tires and fuel for Jason Hand. It looks like the same for Gary Corley. They're just going to take tires and fuel and get back out there. But yeah, I honestly didn't see that coming. I felt like those guys would be good to go to the end. And even with that, I'd say for them to come in as early as they did, also a bit of a surprise to me. So I'm still looking at the traffic in front of the leaders, and it's still, I mean, they've got about a full straightaway until they get to John Held in front of them. But actually, caution out. This is going to change everything. Yeah, that's our jinx is working, and it looks like, unfortunately, Gary Corley on, I believe, probably a pit exit miscues that car hard into the outside wall. So yeah, so great news for some, not so great for others. Let's go back and we'll watch that number 7 as he rolled out of pit road here. We'll pick up the speed. It is a very tricky pit exit here, but had fresh tires, but any little bobble goes, unfortunately, a very long way.
It actually looks like Ryan Steinhoff also crashed. Yeah.
Maybe those two came together. You see, right here, look at that boomer. He was just touching the white line, and that's the difference right there. You get that banking difference.
Watch it up. He's going to slide up here. Looks like into the wall right in front of Ryan Steinhoff.
There's Ryan.
Have absolutely nowhere to go. Tries to make it up into the wall and just clips him. Man, if he would have,
tough one.
If he would have cleared Gary, I think he still would have hit the outside wall. That's hopefully he does have another fast repair left. But man, that's something that I wanted to mention earlier, but just never had the chance to. That you got to be really careful getting off and on pit road. We've seen quite a few incidents in the in and out laps so far this season, causing yellows and ending people's days. So unfortunate for Ryan there, just kind of caught up in Gary Corley's mistake there.
Yeah, no, it's a tough break, and the jinx is alive and well with Green White Checker TV. So, and like I said, I mean, and honestly, I was surprised to see those pit stops, but Say probably the happiest driver of all right now is that 6 right here of Matt Wagner. He gets his lap back after that pit penalty from his mistake. But surprisingly, though, remember we talked about fuel mileage. I thought for sure we would have seen Craig Forsyth in, but he stays out once again.
You
I
know,
just that fuel.
yeah,
I don't know.
I feel it. Well, so he had to go 33 laps, right? We saw Dan Marrera go 32, and I think Matt Wagner and Craig Forsyth go 30 on the first pit at lap 30 on the first stint. So I think if he can save 1 or 2 laps of fuel under caution here, I think he's going to be okay. But it'll be interesting for sure. I think obviously Craig was definitely the one who was looking forward to seeing that yellow flag come out. You know, he could probably even be. I know we have fuel maps in these cars, but he could probably even be clutching and shutting the car off too. I know that's the maximum way to save even more fuel, just to cut the engine completely. But we'll see here, as doesn't look like he's super concerned about saving fuel. He's actually running the outside line. Probably would have been on the apron if he was seriously concerned about his fuel here. But it'll be interesting to see. So it did look like Andrew Wood came down pit road to maybe get some fresh tires, as well as Jeff Heisong, Yari Brubacher, and Eric Peterson. So that'll shuffle them back to 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th for Eric Peterson. So interesting for sure to see. Promotes Luis Gonzalez Nunez up to second. Craig Forsyth still sticking there in the third spot. Joseph Grijalva in fourth, and Jim Herrick here in fifth. Dan Marrera with a nice comeback to sixth place after trying to stretch the fuel early and not making it happen too well. Thaddeus McMurray top 7, William Gunn, Andrew Wood again, and Jeff Heisong rounding out the top 10. So it'll be a battle here for these top 14 cars now on the lead lap, as like you said, Matt Wagner getting his lap back as the lucky dog this caution.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. So I mean, again, the leaders here pitted at lap 72 for Nick DeGroot, 71 for Luis, and 67 for Craig. It's gonna be about 15 lap fresher tires here for Andrew Wood, Jeff Heisong, and company. So this is gonna be fun to see. Do tires play a difference in this final stint? Because these guys are gonna be going for everything they have here. Let's say maybe Nick's just thinking, you know what, track position too important. But I mean, we saw right there one of his championship rivals in the 64. He's rolling the dice here. And now let's say this gives Luis, now he's kind of in a good spot, because if he can get a good restart, tag onto the 89 car, this is where we'll see again and say we've seen it's tough for that third car to kind of break the into the top 2. So Luis might be in a really good spot here. So we'll see as we're going to get back to green here with 11 to go.
Nick DeGroot will be the control car on the restart for the first time tonight. He is off and away. Looks like he got a wonderful jump over Luis Gonzalez Nunez. So we'll see, like you said, as we get down to the backstretch. He's trying to break the draft here as the rest of the car kind of snakes through. And we'll see as he gets into turn number 3 if he can hold that spot. But so far, the leaders have had good luck of making that jump and being the ones to stay out in front here on the 2-mile speedway at Auto Club.
Yes, and I think, yeah, Nick's probably safe right now. Say it's going to be more probably right here out of 4. If Luis can get a good XBC right there, got a little bit of aero wash. Not sure. Ooh, Craig also just had to chase it all the way up to the wall there. So that puts him under attack from Joseph Grijalva. You see Joseph peek into that second lane there on the outside here. And yeah, Luis just was not able to get close enough.
Yeah, we'll see here. Now it's going to be a gaggle of cars off of turn number 2, as looks like Joseph Grijalva kind of gets boxed in there.
Oh, we got a big wreck on the backstretch, but it looks like we stay under green here because it's off the track there.
McMurray.
Yeah, Thaddeus McMurray involved, and I'm not sure if anybody
damage.
else may have just been Thaddeus there. But yeah, that car he's going to try to limp it back to the pits. We'll see if he can make it, and if so, we'll stay under green. But we'll jump back up front here, though, as like I said, Nick DeGroot and Luis Gonzalez still trying to fight for that front spot. Can mention Andrew Wood. He's worked his way up to 6th position here, Boomer, so he's just in the outside of this picture. There he is. He's still got 9 more laps to work with to try to get up to these guys. Like I said, he's got the fresh tires.
Yeah, an update on that crash. It looked like Thaddeus McMurray had, I would say, some help off of the nose of Jeff Heisong in the 18, unfortunately. So not sure what happened there, but Thaddeus looked like he was checking up a little bit off of 2, and Jeff might have misjudged the speed a little bit. But unfortunate there for Thaddeus. Looks like he is going to be back in the pits towing, and yeah, probably going to just about end his night here.
Yeah, so in business picking up Jari Brubacher. He puts down the fastest lap of the race with a 32.30. So you can see Craig, he's falling off the back of these top three right now, and he's going to start falling into the clutches of Andrew Wood. But I say Andrew can't waste time because Craig's almost about a second back. As here comes Joseph Grijalva. He thought about it. No, he's going to stay up on the top side. These guys trying to figure out where they want to position their cars here. So it looks like having a little bit of some connection hiccups, trying to find a car to look at. Oh, I think Nick DeGroot. Oh, yeah, he is having like some big connection hiccups here. That's going to be, this is a kind of a dangerous spot for Nick here, because let's say you get too many of those and it's at risk of kind of getting blinked out there. So it looks like he's kind of recovered. He's back in it here. But while that was all happening, Andrew Wood has gotten around Craig Forsyth and moved Andrew up into fourth. He's in range of these guys in front of him. He's got the fresh tires. Can Andrew close the gap in his remaining 6 laps?
Yeah, definitely the opportunity for him to just absolutely send it here. He's got the tires, he's got the fuel to do it no matter what. So we're probably going to see Craig Forsyth drop a little bit more, I would maybe expect, just as he tries to save the rest of the fuel. But this is going to be a battle so far. Nick DeGroot is definitely under fire from Luis Gonzalez, Nunez, and Joseph Grijalva. It's definitely a blanket under the top three, and Andrew Wood, we'll see this time as he crosses the stripe, he will be at least 2 to 3 tenths faster than everyone in front of him. So that'll be pretty big as he is starting to catch these leaders. And we do see Luis Gonzalez Nunez now to the point here with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, but that was Luis. I was wondering when Luis might try to make the move and get around Nick DeGroot, and the last time by was when it finally happened. And I was saying, honestly, that probably was a good thing for it to take that long, because it allowed Andrew Wood to kind of keep closing in. And say, you see, watch Joseph Grijalva. He's trying to find an opening here, just can't quite find the spot yet. But
he's inside.
Oh, it's tight there. He has to roll out of it now.
Nick watch out. Yep. Nick's going to get underneath him. Yep, he's going to get slow off turn 2.
Contact, I think.
A little bobble at least. Maybe a little bit of contact, but still rolling, still green. Andrew Wood up to second or third, excuse me. He's going to have the freshest tires here. Not going to make a huge difference here in the Indy cars, especially not at Auto Club, but it's going to give you a little bit of an advantage. See, he can probably hold a better line through the corners, as we do see Joseph Grijalva now getting back around him on the outside, but it is too wide here for the battle as Nick DeGroot sends it off into turn number 1 as our leader. This is going to get exciting with 3 laps to go, excuse me.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. As I say, Andrew had the spot, but yeah, even with the tires, it's still not going to be easy for him to do it. As you saw, Joseph able to get to Andrew's outside and was able to just basically swing right back around him. So Andrew's, I say, it's not going to be easy pickings for him. Even with those fresh tires, that dirty air definitely going to be playing a role. As like I said, though, we're down to 2 to go here right now. It looks like.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it's interesting to see there, Luis Gonzalez Nunez made the pass into turn number 3, but Nick DeGroot actually beat him back to the line. So as of right now, the way this is cycling out, Nick has the advantage at the line. So we'll see if Luis can make the pass into turn number 3 and make it stick all the way through to the start-finish line, as we're going to get the white flag this time by.
Yeah, so this is where Luis is going to figure out, does he still protect or not? I think this is the right call. You let the 89, you give him the low side, and then on this final lap here, you do the same move if Nick allows it, and then you keep it pinched low.
Yep, Nick actually takes the white flag here, so we'll see if Luis has enough to get back around him into turn number 3 and make it stick and hang in front of him. They're going to try and
breaking the draft.
Yep, trying to break the draft is the 89 of Nick DeGroot. See if Luis can even get to him off the corner here.
As it looks like Nick may have played this perfectly. We'll see. He's going to get a good run out of 4. Is it going to be enough? Right now, Nick's got plenty of room to work with. It's not going to be enough. Nick DeGroot going to get the win here tonight at Auto Club over Luis Gonzalez Nunez, Joseph Grijalva in 3rd. And then Andrew Wood fought hard, got all the way back up into the top 5, finishes in 4th. And then Jari Brubacher going to round out our top 5 in that number 49 machine. And then for some of those that were talking about earlier, Matt Wagner from the wave round, he gets back up into 8th. And I think it's going to be a bit of a heartbreaker. Craig Forsyth drops all the way to 9th position here tonight.
Yeah, he did finish the race, though, which is huge for the fuel strategy that he had. So, definitely didn't work out the way he wanted, unfortunately, but he still was able to do it, as we do see Nick DeGroot going to probably do some front stretch celebrating here. Definitely.
Going to bring some friends along with him.
Yeah, looks like a podium party here on the front stretch. That's fun. But, time and time again, this 89 car, Nick has absolutely shown how he really is the class of the field, taking home yet another win this season here in Auto Club, extending that points lead. Definitely going to be a hard one to beat for this championship.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of trying to solidify his strength on there. As let's see if he can get it stopped. Oh
Back
man,
in. Oh, wow.
he pretty much parked it right in that 19th hole victory lane there. Let's go ahead and pull up our final results here as we watch him celebrate a little bit more. So Nick DeGroot getting the win over Luis Gonzalez by just under 7/100ths of a second. And then Joseph Grijalva there in 8th, 1 second back, just able to hold off Andrew Wood. Yari Brupacher there rounding out our top 5. Then we mentioned Jim Herrick, Jeff Heisong, Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, Eric Peterson, our top 10. And then we just got a few left here. Unfortunately, the drivers not having quite the results they wanted to, including Dan Murrah, John Held, William Gunn, and then drivers a lap or more down. Joseph Morales, Thaddeus McMurray, Ryan Steinhoff, Gary Corley, Jason Hand. And then, yeah, the unfortunate early retirements for including also Jim Brooks, Joseph DeCiro, and Charles Teed. However, though, Boomer, with all this, we get to talk to some new drivers here tonight. I think possibly the first interviews, if I'm not mistaken, for Joseph and for Luis. So that's going to be a great, always a fun thing to do for these guys. So the first thing we got to do is we got to hunt these guys down. And I think we've already found that number 47 of Joseph Grijalva. So we're going to go ahead and pull him on in here, Boomer. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, also going to be our highest climber of tonight.
Yeah, looks like it up 13 spots tonight. It's
from
Joseph Grijalva.
16th to 13th in that number 47 Fram machine. So Joseph, I mean, this was kind of a strategy race here tonight with the kind of when to pit. Do you save? Do you go full send? Try to make it on 2 stops before the yellows happened, and then do you pit? Do you not pit? I mean, how do you go through all the strategies of what's the right call to make? I mean, was this one of those ones where you're just kind of pulling your hair out because you just don't know the right decision at the end?
So I'm pretty fortunate. I got to thank my crew chief, Jason. He crew chiefs all my IndyCar races, so all I had to do is drive. He took that load off my mind, and he did strategy for us today.
Definitely a great battle there towards the end with Andrew Wood. Obviously, he had pit last at lap 87 after the final caution to take tires and fuel, but you were able to battle around him and get back around him for the last spot on the podium. Take us back to those last couple laps, and did you think he was going to get there and be able to get around you guys?
So my main focus was looking out the windshield and turning off the mirrors, right? I knew I was quick on the high side. High line is I saw them guys drop into the middle low line, and I would just put my foot down, and most of my passes were on the outside, so I knew I can get them.
Yeah, I mean the momentum is definitely. I say we talked to some drivers and they were definitely mentioning the outside line. They were feeling pretty good about that tonight, and I mean it was a big fight. Obviously, I mean I'll say the other courses. Let's say when you kind of get to that third car to try to kind of jump the gap, if you will, to find a way to break into that top 2 with Nick and Luis. I mean, how hard is it to try to kind of find a way to kind of put your name in that hat, if you will, to kind of get after those 2 guys at the end of it? Was it just trying to see if you could capitalize on a mistake, or I mean, was it just was there anything different you could have done to try to jump between the 2 of them, and that way you be in that spot to kind of jump between them?
Yeah, so I'd say that was the toughest challenge, is first and second, because they're taking up the track, and there's no cars ahead of them to draft off of. Once you get a run on the outside and you get a draft to pull you alongside, so kept trying the outside, wasn't really working. They were both pulling on me on the bottom side. Just tried moving around the track, didn't work out, but great learning experience for sure.
Yeah, definitely a great battle tonight and a hard-earned third place finish here tonight. Joseph, want to give you a chance to get any thanks and shout-outs here in tonight for that podium placing for you.
Absolutely. Thanks to like I said, mentioned my crew chief Jason. He called the shots. I just drove. He helped me get the P3. My sponsor, Autolite Fram, they're on the car. Big supporter of me. I really appreciate that. Also, of course, my dad, my sister, my wife, all them guys watching my races. They're big supporters of my racing.
Yeah, great job tonight, Joseph. Great to see you get a podium over here. Say it's at a very stout field here tonight with a very difficult track as well. So I'll say well deserved, well earned finish, and yeah, definitely enjoy this one, man. Looking forward to see what you got for these guys the rest of the way.
Thank you. We'll be there.
All right, so we're going to jump from our third place finisher to our runner up in that number 15 machine. That is going to be Luis Gonzalez Nunez, who's qualified in third. Say, even though it's just, oh yeah, he just went from third to second, but man, I mean, Luis was going after lap after lap. It looked like Boomer, and then finally had the strategy and then the track position to finally do something with it there. Let's say, Luis, was it just basically a matter of getting into that spot where it was basically you were either first or second there? Because I mean, we saw you had so much pace early on. It just seemed like that it was something we asked Joseph about too, where you can't find a way to kind of close that gap between those top two that are, especially when they're kind of doing that leapfrog draft. I mean, what was the strategy when you were kind of in that dirty air and not able to get into that top two position?
Hi guys. Well, was tough. I didn't expect to really difficult setup. The first one for the race was like, okay, we need to check the adjustment of the car. Like I started with the supposed setup. The setup was starting 5 on 1 there anti-roll. So I start to 401, 402, 403, and one moment I leave it in 403 and I start to push it like that. But in the first, actually, the good thing is miracle because when I hit the wall, when it's coming Jerry on the back me, I hit the wall. I pass me Nick. So I hit the wall. I try to keep pushing behind to Nick, and Jerry passed me. I push. I decide to coming in on boxes, and I did good. So I don't know. I practice more in and out boxes in practice half hour before the race. So maybe this is the key. So that's why I almost going down to the 10 position, maybe something like that. But was tough, and after that I catch easily the just only leave and play with the throttle. Just that's the thing. So it's very difficult. I thought maybe gonna get more loose on the back, but the car is very very nice. So in that moment.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to mention that you fell down for a little bit there, but definitely able to slowly and methodically work your way back through the field. I guess take us through, how much patient you have to be as far as not getting down or not getting frustrated with falling that far back in the running order before you were able to work your way all the way back up to a second place finish.
Actually, it was like my regular races in any league what I am now. So it's like okay, I gonna lose position. This just only focus on just stay calm and just thinking about this 100 laps. In this case, sometimes it's 200. So thinking about just staying calm. It's gonna come in your spot, and let's do it. So if it's green flag, it's gonna be easy because some people more practicing race like around the track. But I really thinking about the key is 50-50 between in the track and coming in pits and coming out. So that's the key to how to brake in the spot in your pit, and also how to go outside because the car and is super sleepy outside in the exit pit, so it's really sleepy. So when you go to with the apron to go to the track, it's really sleepy. So you must do handle with the throttle and also with a weight jacket and negative. So it's like it's really hard. But I think so. The key was the pit stop on. I think so. The last one, almost the last one. After the last one in green flag. So that's what was the key because I came out on behind to Craig. I was super fast. I thought Craig it was I don't know, maybe have a damage or something like that. So I keep going. I get third, and I thought, okay, this is the race. But well, it's coming the yellow flag and different things.
Yeah, and actually, I was saying it was that the saying the yellow flag was exactly what you said. It was the pit exit because, like you said, it was so treacherous with having, like said, I mean, and the mention you mentioned, the obviously kind of being careful on throttle, but then even having to adjust weight jackers and things like that to try to keep it pointing in the right direction. But I say so. I say it's going to be better than just a runner up here tonight because I say we're bringing Matt Wagner in on here because we've got some great partners over with Green White Checker TV and Area 51 Racing League. Say with Jim Herrick starting up 4D Racewear. So Matt, I'm going to let you take this one away, sir.
Luis, you know how long I've known you. I've known you for a very long time. I asked Nick, I was going to give my winner a nice little pair of gloves, but unfortunately, Nick does not wear gloves. On behalf of Green White Checker TV, Area 51, and 4D Racewear, I would like to present to you a brand new set of brand new gloves just for you. I will get you hooked up here with Jim Herrick, and we'll get him shipped out all the way up to Canada just for you, buddy.
I really thank you so much. I didn't expect to this. I just racing for because I like it, and today I off day in my job, so that's why I'm here. And really, thank you so much, Matt, and appreciate it. And I know we know for years, maybe I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe.
Yes, sir.
Something like that.
Yes, sir.
So I really appreciated your invitation and also to your gift. Really, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No, you got to thank Jim Herrick. Without him, this would not be possible. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so yeah, so say we'll get you over to them after here though tonight, Luis. And say, but before we let you go, say it's obviously say a podium and then some for you tonight. It's like so great job. So you're gonna have to tell work to let you do some more racing because I'll say you get a week off and you say it's all going well here for you. So, but definitely want to give you the floor though, Luis, for any thanks and shout outs, maybe any sponsors, anything like that help you out to for this run up finish tonight.
Yes, I have a couple of sponsors on my car. Actually, it's sponsored by my boss, actually. So I want to say thank you to Sin Racing 24/7. Darren, the guy, is support me a lot in all of this. And doesn't matter which league I am, but he support me a lot. I want to say thank you to HyperX2. I want to say thank you to ESTV for support me too. I want to say thank you guys for all this amazing league too. Also for Matt Wagner, make more and more people inside this league. I'm really happy for him. I want to say thank you also for my mom. My mom is my main and my number one fan to watch me in Chile. I want to say thank you her. Gracias a mi madre por verme y para mi padre, mi madre, para ustedes dos este segundo lugar. Ojalá hubiese sido victoria, pero es lo que hay. Thank you so much for both of you for support me. I hope we're gonna get the first place, but it's gonna happen today. But let's see next week, if we have a race or no. And thank you guys. Thank you so much for everything, and see you, I hope, next week.
Yeah, so give us your works phone number. We'll call you out there. That way, you get you back on track some more. Because yeah, it was a great job though tonight, Luis. And yeah, again, congrats, man, a great result. And yeah, definitely looking forward to see you get the win here tonight. In the next coming weeks here, man.
Yes, was close. I really thinking about. I don't wanna. Actually, I didn't say that, but I saw Andrew coming on the back. I said no, I don't wanna screw everything because it's gonna be third place or maybe fourth place. So that's why I keep it on the back with Nick DeGrot. So I said, oh, I don't want to screw nothing. So I want to stay on the back. Let's bring the second place on the home, and that's it. This is the thing.
That was a good. I say it worked out well. As like I said, just had a chance out there. But I say definitely don't feel bad about finishing second to Nick because yeah, he's a monster in these things. So, but yeah, go enjoy this one, man. We'll get you over to Matt and Jim. So he said we can get you some gloves. It sounds like so. Congrats, man, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you the rest of the way.
See you guys next week. Thank you so much.
All right, Boomer. So what a cool way to kind of cap off a couple of podiums here with Joseph and Luis, and say, and then again just the league. I mean, the sponsors, the donations. I mean, say again, Jim Herrick with 4D Racewear starting that up, giving away some gloves. And I say, and then of course the selflessness of these drivers, Nick DeGroot saying, like, you know what, I don't use gloves when I race, so let's give it to the next guy in line. So that's also a really cool thing to do. So say, speaking of which, let's pull that number 89 of Nick DeGroot on over here, because I mean. I say I think you think you probably owe us a beer or something, Nick. 'Cause I think we kind of commentator cursed you back into this race, because we were like, all right, without a yellow, this looks like it could be a Matt and Andrew show here, and then you get that yellow. Say, because no, actually, no, I'm sorry, it was a Nick and Andrew show. I'm mixing things up here, Boomer. But no, I mean, you guys are running away with it. So actually, I'm sorry, it was the caution that brought everybody else back into it. So I mean, what's the emotions were? It's like, okay, it's just going to be the two of us. We're sizing each other up for those last 20 laps, and then you get that caution just outside of 10 to go. I mean, is that oh, crap, it's all over now, and everybody's going to be after us, or you're still feeling confident, especially once you kind of see that split pit road strategy?
I mean, I definitely wasn't happy because we had that race on lock, me and Andrew. We were just driving away with it. But I could also understand your confusion, because for a good part of that race, I was absolutely nowhere in contention. It took me about half the race to figure out how to drive this tight setup. So, yeah, it was a challenging one, and I like that we were able to break away, and I would have preferred if it stayed that way, but in the end it worked out. I think we ended up gaining more points on Andrew and Craig there than we would have if it stayed green. So, could have easily gone the other way, but, yeah, it ended up working out for us.
Yeah, definitely a great opportunity for you. I mean, you always manage to find your way towards the front and have had the opportunity to win quite a few races already this season. But closing in on the championship battle, what do you think it's going to take to finish this season out strong and win another championship?
Less races like Monza and more races like today. So this one I almost wrecked 2 or 3 times earlier in the race, because I was kind of frustrated because it wasn't driving like I expected it to. And admittedly, I didn't do much practice because I kind of just came here thinking, oh, it's Fontana. I'll just, it's Fontana. It's not that hard. Well, turned out to be really hard, and that almost cost us big time. So I need to not be so reckless moving forward, because for a good part of that race, we were really struggling, almost wrecked, like I said, a couple times. And for a good part of it, we were outside the top 5. And it was not until I think like lap 50 or 60 where I started to realize, okay, this is the line that I'm comfortable with. This is the line where I can make time. Here we go. And I started gaining ground on that high side, and yeah, that's all she wrote. Got in the fight, and it all worked out in the end. So I'm glad I figured out eventually. It took me a while, but yeah, so I need more races like that where we don't panic at the beginning if things aren't going our way. Just settle down, think it through, and get there at the end, because you could end up in victory lane like we did today.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just obviously getting comfortable with the car. It was also kind of the pit strategy, I think, played a big role tonight too, where I think the big one, of course, Boomer probably agree with me here, was there's a yellow where Craig and Matt stay out. You guys all come in, and then it seemed like that was the wrong choice for them, because they couldn't make it to the end on the one stop, and it really kind of changed how they had to play their strategy there. Was that a surprise to you to see those guys stay out, or were you thinking like, his track position maybe was more worth that than the potential fuel issues?
I was actually surprised more people didn't stay out, because, like you were saying, I think track position was really big here, and I think that would have been enticing for a few people to jump up to the front of the grid. But yeah, I was very happy to see most of them pitted with me, because I expected to be restarting 10th or worse there, and instead we were restarting like 5th, and 3 people stayed out, so it worked out really well for us. And I mean, I can't fault Craig for that, because yeah, I thought about doing the same thing right up until the last second, but yeah, if you have the opportunity to cut out a pit stop, you have to go for it, no matter how important the track position may be. My only worry was an ill-timed caution, because tires were worth something here too. It was a weird combination of track position was important, but once you get like 10, 15 laps on the tires are important here too. You saw Andrew was really charging there at the end, so we got lucky with the yellows, I'll admit.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of luck, but where he was able to figure it out as the race went on, and still managed to get that win after a nice battle there towards the end. It was definitely a lot of fun to watch you and Luis go back and forth, and you and Andrew go back and forth a little earlier in the race. But hard-earned win, and want to give you a chance now to have the floor and give any thanks and shout-outs that you want to give for the race win tonight.
Yeah, first of all, I got to thank Luis there for working with me at the end. I think we both had the same thought when we saw Andrew show up on our relative with those fresher tires inside the top 5, and we stopped battling and we just started swapping immediately all the way until the last lap. So that was really cool of him to do that with me, and also to hang in there when my thing blinked out for a good 10, 15 seconds. That was a pretty sketchy moment. Thought I was going to get dropped out of the race there, but no, he's always great to race with. Congrats to Joseph on a well-earned podium. He was right up there in that fight, and Andrew as well for just a fantastic race. The 4th place finish does not show what kind of race he drove. He was really good from the get-go. And yeah, as always, thank you to Factorback Motorsports, CoveyMoore.com, Motorsport.com, Canvas Shoes, Cowboy Shed, DeGroot, Automotive U-Haul and Detailing, and everybody else who supports us. Can't wait to get back after it next week.
All right, man. Great job tonight, Nick. Like I said, I mean, it took a little bit to get everything wrapped around it, but yes, you figured it out and you were going after it there. So, like Boomer mentioned, kind of stretch the points lead a little bit. This will be the first one where we get to see what the drop weeks look like as well after tonight's one. Kind of get a rough idea what we'll look at for the rest of the season. So, go enjoy this one, man, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week, sir.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right, Boomer. That is our race winner in that number 89 of Nick DeGroot. But I mean, I'd say only three yellows here tonight for a 100-lap race at Auto Club, and I'd say just little mistakes here and there. But man, let's say commentator's curse came back, and I think it definitely played a bit of an outcome of for some drivers maybe on the benefits or maybe on the kind of maybe the opposite side of that one. But the one I feel like, unfortunately, I said not to kind of hit a guy when he's down, but I feel like Craig Forsyth probably not feeling too good about the pit strategy first time. I'll say kind of 2 stops I feel like maybe should have came in. Saying I think with Andrew jumping all the way to 4th and he falling back to 9th, there's probably one of those kind of a salt in the wound type of races for him.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate for Craig there. Tried to play the pit strategy. I don't blame him. Obviously, the gamble did not pay off after winning last week at Indy. So unfortunate there. Still has plenty of time to get back into the championship battle. He still has hold of, I believe, 2nd place there. So he will be he will be able to still battle, but Nick DeGroot obviously getting a chance to extend that win after continuing to make improvements on the night. So sometimes when you take a gamble, it doesn't work out. And as far as commentators go and commentators' curses go, I'm all for things that change it up and shake it up. So if any of you guys in the league are rewatching this back, I apologize, but it makes it fun for us, and hopefully it makes it fun for you viewers at home. Appreciate all you guys tuning in and looking into what should be a pretty good battle for the championship shaking up for the last couple weeks of the season.
Yeah, say 4 more to go after this. Next up will be Kentucky over there, so that'll be an interesting one with that reconfiguration. I'll say kind of got a fast turn 1 and 2, slow turn 3 and 4, so we'll see who's able to manage that one the best. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see. And I'll say, yeah, for those that maybe are looking for some commentators' curses, I'll say we'll get in touch with us. We'll send you our PayPal, and we'll see if we can work some magic and make a couple bucks on the side as well. So
I don't mind that. I like that idea.
But no, I'll say, Boomer, as always, man, definitely always a privilege to have you with me up here. Looking forward to seeing what you got with Maxwell on Thursday night. Start the playoffs for the Super Speedway Truck Series, 4-race playoff for the top 8 in points. We'll see who's able to come out on top after those 4 races over there. So still plenty of racing to go. But thank you again, man. Really appreciate everything. I really appreciate everybody that watches, supports us here on Green White Checker TV. Hope you all enjoyed it tonight. Like I said, we'll be back on Thursday for the Super Speedway Trucks at Daytona. So until then, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you all on Thursday.